Hello, friends. Today is creating campaigns in MailChimp. So, campaigns, as I mentioned in an earlier module, campaigns in MailChimp are not the same as they are in Infusionsoft. Campaigns in here are broadcast messages. So, this is basically a mass email that you're sending to a list of people. So just if you go between programs, just realize there's going to be overlap in terms, but they don't mean the same thing. So, and this is helpful too when you're talking to clients because they may not know that as well. Somebody might move from MailChimp to Infusionsoft and think a campaign is the same thing, but it's not. Okay. So our topics for this module are campaign types, how to create campaigns, and the different options that you have when it comes to campaigns. So starting with campaign types, there are 4 different types. Regular is the one that you're going to use 99% of the time, right? It's really the one that is the one that you want to use for the templates that you've created, for instance, for things like e-zines, for broadcast messages. Regular is going to be what you want to use. Now you can create from scratch a campaign, but you can also use the existing templates that you've created in the last sessions. Plain text is just that, no formatting, none, zilch, zero. Okay, it's basically a text-based, message. In A/B or split testing, this allows you to send 2 different emails and change the content or the subject line or some of the information in it, and then test to see which ones gets better response. And what I mean by responses is conversions. How many people open it versus A versus B? How many people click on a link versus A versus B? And this is a really great thing to do as you get deeper into email marketing. If you're first starting out, that might be a little overwhelming, but you need to understand what A/B split tests are all about. And then RSS. RSS is how you can actually feed your blog right directly into MailChimp so you can send out campaigns or broadcasts for those. So 4 different ways you could do that. So we're going to start again with just simple campaigns. We're going to start with a regular campaign. We'll look at the others as well. But what I invite you to do is try the different ones just so you get a gist of how they work. Remember, a campaign is a broadcast email. Do use some type of naming standard so it's easy to understand what a broadcast is, because there'll be history, because this is every email you send. And if you're using an email marketing tool like you should be, you should have lots of broadcasts going out. And you want to look at the reports and analytics as well. So, I invite you to come up with a naming standard. If your client doesn't have one, make sure that you do. It will help them as well. And as I mentioned, you can create campaigns from scratch, or you can use a template. And these are things that you can schedule or send out in the future. So let's have a look. Okay, so let me go to campaigns. Okay, so here's the current campaigns that we have, and you can see that some of these actually have some analytics, like this one has 1 subscriber, how many opens and how many closes. This one has 3. And notice when I move over, these numbers, opens and clicks, change. Okay, so that's kind of your statics. Opens means how many people actually open the email. Clicks means if there was anything clickable in the email, like a link or a picture, how many people actually clicked it. Now, opens mean different things in different programs too. And so each one has their own kind of algorithm or test that they use when it comes to open. So an open rate in MailChimp may not be the same as an open rate in Aweber, because they're different programs and they use different sets of criteria to determine open rate, just so you know. Okay, so when I click on campaign, you'll know to create campaign. There's my regular, plain text, A/B, and RSS. So I'm just going to do a regular. Okay, first question you're asked is, who are you sending this campaign to? So remember, this is an email, and you send your email to list or segments or groups or a combination thereof. So you basically would scroll through here and you would select who you're going to be sending it to. Okay, so I just chose the first one. Is it the entire list? Is it a saved or pre-built segment? Remember, we talked about segments. Pre-built segments, customer behavior, demographics, all of these. Now, some of these are in the pro version, female, male, and obviously any of this information that you're looking at under demographics, you would have to store that information in MailChimp. So in other words, you'd have to have a place where they could say they're male or female, how old they are, and that kind of information, okay? Customer behavior. Connect to your store to unlock these segments, potential, recent, first time, repeat, or lapsed. This would mean you'd have to pull in an integration, and we're going to be looking at integrations in another chapter, and we'll talk more about that. But basically, these are options for customer behavior. A store would allow you to do purchases and track purchases with MailChimp. Okay, and then subscriber engagement would be new subscribers, active subscribers, or inactive subscribers. So it tells you what those are. So you could actually target with these pre-built segments that are part of MailChimp. Okay, otherwise, you can do your own group or new segment. So I could create a new segment here. Right, we looked at segments before. Okay, I could also paste in emails if I wanted to. Okay, so different ways you could do it. So I'm just going to send it to the entire list to keep it simple. So again, saved or pre-built segment, group or new segment, and then next. Campaign name, pretty simple. Okay, so I just put the date there. This is my e-zine for that date. This is the campaign. This is how it shows up in MailChimp. It's not your subject line. Your email subject. Excuse me, how do I write a good subject line? We'll give you tips on that. You could use Headline Analyzer. You could use some of those other tools. But remember, your subject line is what's going to prompt somebody to open your email. The better the subject line, the better the open rate. And it's things you have to play with. I mean, if you think about standing in the line at the grocery store, you know, most of those outrageous headlines people pick up. So you don't want to be outrageous. You don't want to be you know, you don't want to promise things you can't deliver, but you want to make it interesting enough that they'll open it. Now, this is just a sample, and I'm kind of making it up on the fly. For engaging your audience. There we go. Okay. And then it tells you how many characters that you have. From name is automatically defaulted, but you can change that by simply typing over it. So is the email address. Now realize when you're using MailChimp and you choose an existing list that's not your own and you send an email, you're sending it to other people that are part of the program or who have left the program. I've had people send me emails going, why am I getting this? It's got your name on it, but it's not you. It's because people are testing and broadcast. So just make certain that you're using your own campaign, your own list. So you're not sending it to people who don't know you. And that way there's no confusion, okay? Okay, over here on the left, you've got use conversations to manage replies and personalize the to fields. So this just tells you a little bit about use conversations to manage replies. When enabled, will generate a special reply to address for your campaign. So you can certainly check that on, okay, or turn it off. And then personalize the to field allows you to add additional things. For example, you can do first name and last name, so you could add additional merge tags if you wanted to do so, okay? And this is a great way to avoid spam filters. So I could go in here, include the recipient's name in the message using merge tags to make it more personal. However, you could do different merge tags as well, okay? So I want to personalize the to field, so I'm going to check that on. And then down here at the bottom, you've got a whole bunch of tracking options. Now, this is where the integration is going to come into play, integration with other tools. And so we're going to come back and revisit this once we talk about integrations. We're just doing right now, a simple campaign. So you've got track your open rate, which you always want to do, track your clicks, track your plain text clicks, depends on what type of campaign you're sending. Excuse me. Gotta kiss the yawns all of a sudden. I apologize. Google Analytics link tracking, so you have to integrate. Remember how I said integration. E-commerce link tracking, you'd have to integrate with something like Shopify or an e-commerce platform. This is ClickTail link tracking, which will take your link tracking to another level. Then you've got goal tracking, which allows you to enable goals, which we'll talk about, and then track stats in Salesforce or HighRise. But that again so these are integrations. A lot of these, everything that's not turned on in this example are integrations. Remember, we'll visit those again at another time. Social media, do you want to auto tweet the campaign? So when you send out this email blast, you also want to send a tweet. Now, in order for your social medias to work, you have to actually be connected. So more integrations to Facebook or Twitter. Now, I don't want you auto tweeting anything because it's going to go for me. And same thing with Facebook. So just realize that in here, stay away from any of the social media just because it comes out under my name and I don't need that. But this would be for clients. It could be something that you could do as well if you were sending out an email introducing a new product or a special sale or something like that. And then more options, auto convert video. It just makes it a more user-friendly video. Not a good idea to put video in an email because it really does, it slows it down when they open it. There could be issues. So instead of sending it embedded in the email, I always send a link, and that way they could watch it on YouTube or some other tool. Okay. So campaign information, all that information is there. Now you can either use the options, the menu options at the bottom, or you can do next and back, whatever works for you. So I'll hit next. It's just going to step through this. And so here's your template. So you have your basic, your themes, your saved templates, any previous campaigns that you've run, you could use those again, and then your code your own, which would be the ones that you import. So I'm going to go to my saved templates and say, I'll say I want this one. So I just select it. So you click select. So you find your template, you hit select, and it loads it for you. When you create a template, you put in dummy text so you know where everything goes. And this is where you actually then create the real broadcast message that's going to be going out for people. This works exactly the same way as templates. Okay, so you've got design. Okay, you also have the ability to do comments, get feedback on a campaign. So this is similar to a thread that you could start on a campaign. So you can start by sending this. Okay. Now, we'll talk more about integrations as I mentioned, but let's talk about design. So you've got your page, which is your, and most of this stuff is already set because of your template that you did, but you could certainly come in here, and change it to another color, right? I could change it to gray. Okay. Now that's the text color. I'm like, okay, I don't want that. How about purple? There we go. So you got your title design, right? Then you've got your different fonts if you want to change your fonts bold. So all of this stuff we obviously changed when we created this. Okay, so that's page design. Okay, and then your header, right? And then your body. So this is your formatting, your sidebar, your footer, and your monkey rewards. Monkey rewards just basically says it's from MailChimp. Now here's the deal. When you create your template, all of this is done, but if you wanted to change this specific one, maybe because it's a holiday and there's different colors, you can do that, okay? But here's also where you're going to want to put in your content. So it's not just about the format. Here's where you actually put in your content. So you can see here's my content, and I made that background color ugly. And this is where I would use something like Lipsum, and I'll, for just dummy content. So I don't have to type anything. Now, when you're pasting, you have to be careful. Use one of these pasting buttons that actually paste it as plain text. And that's this one here, so you don't get any of the extra gunk that you don't want, right? And then I can go in here and I can change the style. So I can make that a title, right? And then this one can be a title. Maybe it could be a title too. And then as I go, I save and close. Okay, so I changed this section right here, and then I can come over here and click, and then once again it pops up. I can change this information. I can change this information. I can change all of this, right? Save and close, and it automatically saves a draft for you. So this is the part where not only do you change the actual look and feel of the template if you want, but you also have to go in and change the actual text. So I'll just go in here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right, so now I put this in here instead. So there's my thing. Excuse me. Now from here, you've got a couple of options at the top. You can preview and test, and there's different ways you can test. You can enter preview mode. And preview mode would allow you just to take a look at, well, slowly but surely, a desktop, a mobile, and an inbox. So you could see what it looks like. But for some reason, it's taking forever. So I'll just back out of there. You can send yourself an email attached. You can push it to MailChimp Mobile, and you can actually preview it on your mobile device. So you can actually add that to your mobile device and have a look there. Okay. You can open Link Checker, so you can check your links, which are all of these, to make sure that they all work. And then your social cards. So this may take a second because the machine is just really slow. Okay, so those are your different ways. Probably the best way, you could do preview mode. Let's see if it works now. The other thing I would do, there we go. So desktop, mobile, inbox. Okay. And inbox previews, it says I have to have 25 tokens, so you can see what that looks, which means you have to pay to have this option. Okay. But desktop and mobile are usually the best ones that you want to see. So this means if you open it from a desktop system. Okay. Always send yourself a test. Always make sure you test all the links to make sure that they work. You can also save this as a template. So if you brought this in, and this is a campaign that you send out on and off again, maybe you're going to just create ones for specific holidays, like you've been in business, your business celebration, or maybe the holidays for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter or any of those holidays. You could actually create and then click save as a template, and it allows you to save it as a template as well, which we already saw. And so this will allow you to save an additional template. Okay, and then from here I can also save and exit, but really you want to go on to the next step. So I click on confirm, and this basically gives you check marks to tell you that yes, you've completed all of these steps, which are all these steps along the bottom. So you've you've got the list, you've got the subject line, replies, your tracking options, your HTML, your plain text email if you're doing that, your social cards. Now your social cards, actually have to enable those. Okay, and these allow you to create social cards for Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest. Now, obviously, I didn't enable these because this is my Facebook and Pinterest, so that's why that's off. And then Monkey Rewards. So these two are just yellow because I'm not using those, and that's okay. But you want to make sure any of these options are not red or green, and then if they are, you could certainly hit edit, and it would simply take you back to the spot where you could change it. Right? And then from here, I can jump back to confirm after I fixed it. And this, again, you should look for all of these, okay? And then here at the bottom, you have the option to send it now, or you can click schedule, and you can schedule it at a specific time. So I could click on the calendar here. I can click on the 16th. You can send it a specific time. Okay, you can batch it. So if you have a ton of people on a list, like thousands of people, you can send so many at a time so it doesn't bog down the server. No big deal to you, but that way it batches it out and it sends it over a period of time. So let's say the first one goes out at 6 and the next one goes at 6:05 and so on and so forth. And then you can also let MailChimp optimize the best time to send, and it will calculate your time, right? And then I hit schedule. Voila. That's all it tells me. Okay. And you can also get this mobile app, which is really cool. So back to campaigns. Now you can see that this campaign is actually scheduled. That's what that little icon means. These down here have already been sent. You can see the sent right here, as well as the statistics, and we'll talk about reporting as well a little later. Okay, so if I want to change something that has to do with this specific campaign that's scheduled, I would obviously hit pause and edit, right? And then I would pause it, I would go in and make my changes, and then when I'm done, I would reschedule it, okay? And everything should, you want to just go back and reschedule that, and it's done. So you'll have to pause it if you want to change it, okay? Simple, simple. That's how you create a campaign. So let's look at some of these other ones. So I can do a plain text campaign. And you're going to notice they're very similar. Okay, same options here. Next. But notice I have fewer options. I only have plain text versus all the other options with templates and things that I had. Right? Now I'm just shortcutting just for time here. Okay, and I always want to, now, oops, yeah, opens and HTML. Notice that you can't track any of this stuff because you're not having an HTML broadcast. The only option I have is to track the plain clicks, okay? Ah, just skip. I don't know why all of a sudden it's telling me that my info is wrong. Okay, enter your content here. Okay, enter the content on the email. You can use this, but basically look at this information. Okay, so list description. So here's where your content would go. So you basically put it above this little line. Okay. No formatting, no nothing. It's plain text. And then confirm. By the way, you still can do your options here. Okay. Now we need to verify that you have access to this email. Let me resolve that. I wonder why it's that way. Somebody must have changed that. Okay, so let me save and exit. I'm not going to worry about that one right now. I'm not going to send it. Just wanted to show you that. That's a text campaign. Okay, and it actually says plain text here. Okay, edited, but notice that it's not scheduled. Okay. A/B split testing campaigns. Notice the steps are the same, right? Entire list. Next. Now you set up your variables. What would you like to test? Choose the variables you want to test. We'll generate a campaign for each, which is nice because then what it does is it will give you 3 different places to test it. So I can say, well, I'll change the subject line. And oops, let me try that again. Subject line, okay, which is good. What percentage of your recipients should receive your test combination? So you're splitting it between 50-50. Depending on the size of your list, depends on how you do this. You could actually have 4 different things it looks at. What I would recommend when you do split testing is just choose 2 variables because it's much easier. So I can try 2 different subject lines, right? So I'm saying 50% of the people that go out, so 50% will get one subject line and 50% will get the other. Why is this important? Because this will allow you to understand which of the 2 has a better open rate, which one's getting opened. And when it comes to email marketing, it's all about engagement. So you want people to open your emails so you can have a conversation with them. So that's why this is important. But remember, if you're just starting out, you may be going, whoa, this is too much information. But this can be something that is useful for clients that have been in business some time and have been using email marketing consistently. Okay, so how should we determine a winning combination? By open rate, by click rate, by total revenue. Now remember, in order for it to look at revenue, you have to have an integration. So I can just say by open rate, okay, and after how long? I can say after 4 days, okay, 4 hours, 4 days, okay. Now over here it's telling me recipients. Now I only have 2 people on this list, so it's a very small one. Test 1, winning. So there's test segment, winning segment. Total of 2 recipients. And down here it tells you you can have up to 8 variations if you upgrade to the Pro. Okay, Pro's expensive, by the way. So I hit next. So there are more. Okay, so I have too short of a list. Let me find another list. This one's too small. I've only got 2 people. Now this one has 11. Let's try that. There we go. So I had to have more than 2 people on my list. So you're going to name your test. Okay. Remember, this is a test, right? Personalized. So these are the same options. Email subject. Okay, so there's your 2 different email subjects. Remember, it's going to create the campaigns for you once you choose what you're split testing, right? Are you doing content? Are you doing images? Are you doing subject lines? Are you doing send out time? You saw the 4 different options that you have. So here's my 2 different. So there's one. I know this is a horrible one and I don't mean that, but I'm just putting something in now. Okay, from email address. Okay, there's your tracking information as well. Okay, and then next. What is wrong with my email address? Okay, fine. I wonder what happened. Oh, let's try that one. Nope. All right, I'm going to have to figure out what's wrong with my email address here because it used to work fine. Somebody might have changed it. Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to go any further, but then you have your content and you have your confirmation, which is going to be just like all the others, but that shows you how to work with an A/B split test. And I'm trying to get my way out of here, but you get the idea. So let me get out. Voila. So let me go back to campaigns. Okay. And here's your A/B split testing. Okay. Here's the first one. And so when I open it, okay, I didn't go any further. So let me just grab a template, finish it up, and then confirm, because it's basically going to send the same email twice. Okay, you can see content. I didn't put anything in there. That's why. Picky. There we go. Okay, because of my email address, it won't let me go any further. So let me save and exit. Voila. So that's an A/B split test. And then the other options you have are an RSS campaign. And you have to have an RSS feed URL. So for instance, a feed burner, there's Google Feed Burner, there's a different ones, and a lot of times websites will have, so let me just go to my website here. And I don't think my RSS feed's on here. It's not, naughty me. So let me find somebody who has one. Let's see. Kim Garst, she's a big social media guru. Let's see. Well, her buttons look kind of funny, don't they? Oh, she doesn't have an RSS feed too. Well, she's certainly not making it easy. Well, basically an RSS feed is something for your blog, okay? It says if you don't know, you know the URL for your blog, so I could just do this one. And if you have one, it'll find it. There's my blog. And basically what this allows you to do is every time you post a new blog post, it will send it out to a specific list for you. So you're not recreating the wheel. This is a really great feature. I found that if you're wanting to share your blog post with a list, then you can simply set up an RSS campaign. So there that is. And then when do we send it? Right, I'll send it every week. What day of the week? And if you blog all the time, you can send a digest, or you can send the actual individual blogs. And I'll send it at 7 a.m. And then you can resize the RSS feed images. If they're too big, you can resize them to fit. Okay, and then next. Okay, here's your list again. So what list is it going to go to? So a lot of these you see that's repetitive. Okay, what's the campaign? RSS blog feed. You have the same thing, the email. Okay, these right here are your merge titles, which means it pulls the name of the title off of your blog post and puts it in there for you. So I'm skipping that for now. So now I can choose what if I have a specific theme for my blog post, I can select that. Okay, now my replies again is causing an issue, which I will do. Okay, and then that's all I have to do. So I don't have to schedule it. All I have to do is make sure all of these are resolved, but I have that issue with my email address that I'll have to fix. You still have the ability to do your previews. Okay. Now, obviously, there's nothing here because of the post that will be put in here when it sends the feed. Okay. Now, if you don't blog, then this is an option that you're probably not going to need. But if your client blogs all the time and they're constantly having you go in and send your blog post out every week, then this is an alternative because it's automated for you. Okay, so those are all the different kinds of campaigns that you have. Okay, so you can see them all here. And again, the difference between these and these have been sent. These are all in edited form. This is the only one that you'll notice that's scheduled because it has the timer here. So let me pop back over to here. Okay, so some of the options we looked at, a lot of these have to do with integrations. You can choose what list. You can do a segment or a group. We will do one on integrations and come back and visit campaigns a little bit more. Some of the tracking options that you have, which is always a good thing to track your open rate because you want to know if people are opening your emails because that's how you're getting to have a conversation with them. You can also integrate social media, which in here I don't recommend that you do because it's my social media channel. And then some of the other options that you have. Now remember, some of the integrations have to do with e-commerce, which means you have to connect to those, and we'll look at those in a later session. So when it comes to campaigns, always send yourself a test. Test everything. Test the way it looks. Test the links. Do a preview so you can see what it looks like in the inbox and on a mobile device to make sure it looks the way that you want. Look at it in different email platforms because sometimes it looks different in email for Outlook than it does for email in Gmail, right? So you might want to look at different ones. And then double check when you schedule it that it's the right date and time. Remember, you have to pause it if you want to make a change to it. You have to pause it and then reschedule it if you want to change that, okay? So your homework, create a campaign. You can select the type that you want and the settings that you want, but use one of the templates that you created. You can add your dummy text and then send yourself a test. Make sure that it works. And then create a second campaign of a different type with the same steps above and maybe schedule one for in the future as well. So just so you get the gist of how these work, but I really ask that you create two different types. And I will go in and fix my email address so it's not causing a problem for anybody who's trying to send emails from here. I apologize for that. But really take some time to play around and get a gist for this because these are things that you're going to send constantly. If you're going to send out e-zines, you're going to be sending campaigns. Remember, campaigns are broadcast. So if you need any help, please click the help button in the upper right-hand corner, send us an email, or post in the private Facebook group, or feel free to comment below. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next session. Bye.